Okay, we're going to install the fire control group into the lower. You need a 5/64 Allen wrench and a 5/32 Allen wrench. So first thing we're going to do is get the disconnect ready. The spring nestles right into this spot, and it should retain itself in there. And then when we put it into the lower, it'll line up right on that ledge. So the first thing we're going to do is drop the trigger spring in. It nestles just like that. And then this needs to go forward in the lower when you drop it in there. So drop the trigger through the window. Make sure that spring goes forward. You can see it sitting right down in there. And let's slip this pin partially through just so it's holding the trigger in place. And then we'll take our disconnect and our spring, drop it right down. The spring sets right on that ledge that I showed. And then you'll push everything into place until the hole lines up. And you put pressure on the pin and you'll push it the rest of the way through. Now your trigger and disconnect are in place. You want to pull your trigger and push your disconnect down and make sure it moves freely. Next thing, we're going to install the hammer. So the spring just stretches around the hammer like this. You can tell it's in the right position because the slope on the spring will match up with the slope that's cast into the hammer. Now the two leaves of the hammer spring drop right down on top of the retaining pin that you just put in. The two slots in the retaining pin are where those two leaves of the spring are sitting. We'll rock the hammer back and let it catch on the trigger. Then we'll take our hammer access pin. It's got a hole in it. You want the hole on the same side as the disconnect. So we'll slide that in, rotate it so the hole is up, push it the rest of the way in. Now if you have a small punch, or you can use your 5/64 Allen wrench, push it over until that hole is exposed. Slip your Allen wrench beside the spring to make yourself a little bit of room to get the pin in here. And then we will slip this pin right down in there, just like that. And then you can pop your Allen wrench out. Now the safety slides in just like that into the hole. Detent goes in. Spring drops into the grip, lines up with the detent. And you take your screw.
Mention about that screw, Alan.
So this screw is not the same as an AR. It is a different thread. So if you replace your grip, make sure that you use the screw that was in your lower. Don't use the screw that came with your grip. You put your lock washer on the screw. I find it easiest just to put it on the end of the Allen wrench. Hold it horizontal. Get it started. It should go in easy. There shouldn't be any resistance.
If there is resistance and you've used a new grip, contact us. Don't try to force it in.
No, don't cross thread it. So then we're going to do a quick function check. So it's on safety. Pulling very hard on the trigger to make sure it's not going to fire. I'm going to put it on fire. I'm going to keep the safety pulled, or keep the trigger pulled. Watch the hammer catch on the disconnect. Slowly let off, and watch it catch on the trigger. That's perfect. Now lastly, we can put on our ambi safety. 5/64 Allen wrench. Screw. We always put a dab of Loctite in this when we assemble them.
Blue Loctite.
Yes, blue.
Not the red. You'll never get it off.
And then one more function check.
That's it.